That's Hyde Police Headquarters, the center of one of the biggest ever police search operations in this country. Inside now, detectives are studying a police file, which day by day grows in content. And it's collecting evidence which might confirm the killings of young children up on the Pennine moors about 7 or 8 miles from here.
The Home Office said tonight that a life sentence means just what it says. Normal practice nowadays is to release a life prisoner on license after about 10 years. In some recent cases, judges have recommended that the sentences they've passed should not be reviewed for a certain set period, but no such recommendation was made in either case today.
Before we begin, we would like to extend our deepest sympathies to family and friends of all the victims of Ian Brady and Myra Hindley. We would also like to point out, and we will always make a note of this every time we make one of these videos, that under no circumstances are we trying to be disrespectful. Of course, these were horrendous and damaging times to all those involved. We visit these sites to create awareness and to remember. To those that may wonder why we would visit these places, it is historical. No matter how sad, how brutal, and how maddening it may be, it is a darker historical side to our humanity. What we will show you today are just a few of the locations that have become synonymous with one of the most brutal crimes of the last 100 years. Crimes that shook the world with its sheer horror, cruelty, and pure evil.
Well, hanging's too good for them.
Well, it is, it's too quick.
It is. They want to torture them.
A tooth for a tooth. And a life for a life. They should take a life for a life. That is providing they've done it, which we don't know yet. But they ought to let Mr. Downey do what he wants to, and they ought to give them people to the people that have found those children.
That's Mr. Downey.
Let him go and get him.
I'll kill you. Kill you. Kill you.
Let him go. It's all enough. You should have let him get them. The poor fellow. You've seen yourself. You're going to get that. It's all enough.
This first location is that of the house where Brady and Hindley lived with Hindley's grandmother. It is located just a couple of miles from Hyde near Manchester. The house itself is no longer standing. It was situated right here, where this gap is now. The address was 16 Wardlebrook Avenue. We won't go into any details in this video of the actual murders that took place. If you are curious about that, there is information widely available on the internet. Here we will just show you these few actual locations. Also, please watch to the end of the video to see a possible location that may provide an answer to the one poor soul who, to date, still remains undiscovered. Saddleworth Moor, even on the brightest days, can make anyone feel cold. Seemingly untouched by time, it stretches out in every direction, a desolate and hauntingly beautiful landscape. The ground is uneven and rocky, a reminder of the challenges this desolate land poses to those who venture across it, and for the many volunteers and the police who search this very area, looking, searching. It is believed that John Kilbride's body was found in this area right here on October 21st, 1965. They found the exact spot by discovering a photograph of Myra Hindley crouching down whilst holding her dog somewhere on the moor. On closer examination, they believed that Myra was staring at the ground, which appeared to have been recently disturbed. The worst fears were confirmed on that cold October morning. Underneath that disturbed ground was the body of John Kilbride. However, the very first victim of Brady and Hindley to be found was that of 10-year-old Leslie Ann Downey. She was discovered buried here on the 10th of October, just 4 days after they had committed their final murder. This poor girl was buried naked, with her clothes at her feet. Just over 21 years later, on the 30th of June, 1987, the final remains of 16-year-old Pauline Reed were discovered somewhere in this location. Sadly, she was the last person to be found on the moor. With poor Edward Evans being murdered at Wardlebrook Avenue and was discovered at the time of Ian Brady's arrest, all of these poor souls would be found, except one. Keith Bennett. Keith Bennett, at just 12 years old, was taken away on the 16th of June, 1964. Of the 5 known victims of this evil pair, Keith is the only one who is yet to be found. His mother, Winnie Johnson, always vowed to carry on looking for her child until her last breath.
They can find him if they want to, but all they're saying is they want fresh evidence. They've had 40 years of bloody evidence. What more do they want? They don't think what it's doing to me and my family, or other people that are around me. It's me that's being tortured. It's me that's taking it in the back, nobody else.
In recent times, it has been widely speculated that Keith might not be buried up on Saddleworth at all. Instead, could he be somewhere else entirely? Of the many photographs that were in a tartan-bound album belonging to Brady, was this one.
It was a place called the Roaches, and it wasn't Saddleworth Moor. I don't know why they took the photographs. Perhaps we'll never know why they took the photographs around here. We know they certainly came here, that's without doubt, and we know that they came on more than one occasion. Perhaps there was something more sinister there.
To me, the photographs are significant, and like all other things in this particular inquiry, you know, the important thing to do is to eliminate each particular site one by one. So where there's a photograph of Hindley or himself or whatever by a particular rock, then obviously that's a little red light goes off, thinking, well, maybe this is a burial site. He liked taking photographs. He liked taking photographs of particular sites, which he sees as marker sites. And here are a series of photographs, so goodness me, they ought to be looked at.
Presented with this dilemma, the Home Office at the time decided not to investigate this area. The 2 reasons they gave were there was no substantial evidence to go on apart from this one particular photograph. But isn't that the exact way they were able to find John Kilbride, with just one photograph? The other reason? The Home Office stated that it would be highly unlikely that they would go to such lengths so far from their home to dispose of a body. But is it not also the case that Ian Brady was a psychopath who spent years toying with the authorities just to stay in control? It does make you wonder.
Them photographs and everything, what it's shown of all them different areas, every one of them areas should have been done. Every one of them. Not just one or two of them, or half a dozen of them. Every one of them should have been done. If they've got a photograph like that, it's got to be searched. Why not? Why not search it?